Much to talk about for the full countdown today, so let's start early, Dom. There's a prison escapee. Daniel Outlaw's out as commissioner. There's so much going on here in KRASNERLAND. That's all this week right here in KRASNERLAND. Welcome in, everyone. On Thursdays around 3:45, but we had something going on yesterday, so we're doing it today at 3:15. Why not? It's gonna be a little short guy, but we wanted to hop on here because there's so much going on here in the world of KRASNERLAND, the term that we on the Dom Giordano program have given Philadelphia under the reign of District Attorney Larry Krasner. First off, Dom, let's address the biggest elephant in the room. Well, you know what? It's debatable because 6 ABC, NBC 10, they've been running with the prison break when this happened first. Even though Commissioner Mayor Outlaw did indeed resign this week, it's kind of been pushed to the back burner. And Mayor Kenny, when that happened, had this to say.
Commissioner Welch did a terrific job, and in very difficult times, unprecedented difficult times of pandemic, of civil unrest, of Donald Trump for 4 years. Commissioner Welch did a terrific job.
So he has the chutzpah to blame Donald Trump for the failings of Daniel Outlaw. Dom, give your grade of Daniel Outlaw and what Kenny just said there.
You know what the worst thing, you know what I mean? I could take anybody that's a hard worker and is present, and I see them, even if they're an incompetent as she is, she was never out there. McNesby made the point the other day. You got to show up at 2 o'clock in the morning out there with the cops on the front line, support them. No one's going to be a Frank Rizzo living this job. But if you can't live the job as commissioner of Philadelphia, then you don't deserve to be in here. We ought to have somebody who this is their lifelong dream. They're going to put everything into that. She failed. The guy who doesn't want to be mayor failed. There's only one guy doing his job, his lifelong dream. That's Krasner, because he's destroying traditional society. He is fulfilling his lifelong dream. I got to say, as a hard worker at that, as the king of smugness, the guy is glorious. And I don't, well, wait a minute, Dom, doesn't that defeat you? I don't get defeated by this stuff. It's just an ongoing battle forever until one of us is no longer able to join in the battle. And this will be a John Adams and Jefferson thing. I plan to live that day past Larry Krasner.
So Larry Krasner is still going to stick around. So the commissioner, whoever it's going to have to put up with his bullshit still. But Larry Krasner himself, I mean, the commissioner itself, the position, give me who you would want to see there and who you predict might end up there.
Yes, it's a very hard prediction here, Dan, because what's her name? Sherelle Parker. I tried my best, and I think the media all ought to join in and say this. If you're running for mayor, two things. You have to debate, and two, every single one of them, and a lot of them wouldn't do it, you have to tell us who are the 3 or 4 people that you would want as police commissioner. Give us the even if you want to list 10, so not to leave anybody out. Trump did it with the Supreme Court. He put out the list. These are the 20 people I'm considering. It's the same kind of thing in Philadelphia. This is as important as that. I just don't understand how the media together. Yeah, I push this all the time. So then we can check these people out. We can see, is there a pattern? What will happen, Dan, is people come forward publicly and say, did you know this about the person? That's a good thing. In other words, they're helping with the vetting. But she was put in another attack on the Philadelphia Police to reform the Philadelphia Police Department with this person from nowhere with no resume of anything other than gender and race. And the legacy will be, Ro doesn't watch KRASNERLAND. She hears me say it enough. Nail polish and female officers. That's essentially what she did. She didn't sweat the job. There's no evidence of that. She had no direct effect other negative. She didn't challenge Krasner once. She talked about the fact that to decrease gun crime, if a felon is carrying a gun, you have to throw the book at them. They have no right to be carrying a gun. Krasner threw a fastball right back at her, and she never responded. Who in the world doesn't get? She made a decision. I'm even going to be more worthless in this job than you think I can. Can you imagine any other police commissioner not responding Everybody knows.
I think that's what she was hired to do, though. Like she came all the way from Portland, another hyper-progressive area. It's almost like she was instilled just to be a stooge and allow these things to happen.
Yeah, she was. She was checking two boxes. And now she's tired of all the scrutiny and all that. She wants to go to a lesser job as far as public. How in the world is this person going to be in charge of security? And today, this very day that you and I are talking, Krasner is throwing the book at another cop, charging him with murder. Now, you and I and listeners, we played the tape, don't think these were appropriate protocols necessarily, but murder. That means he could get life imprisonment for this. And Krasner had the nerve to put out a directive saying, we must be consistent with justice. Under Krasner's edict, this guy ought to be made police commissioner then.
Dom, we got some comments here. Jim's checking in. Hey, Jim, welcome back,
Jim.
man. Love to have you. Rob writes in, Dom, whatever happened with the DA getting impeached? He is still impeached, but...
Yes, he is impeached, but it's a matter of going back and forth in the courts about all kinds of legal arguments. And you might say, well, what's the value since he won't be taken out of office? Because he knows he is impeached. We got him impeached, and forever he will be the impeached Larry Krasner. Now, whether we ever get Republicans enough in Harrisburg to do the right thing and remove him in the Senate, that is a moot thing. The only thing I could say about all this Krasner stuff is this. He is losing traction in minority neighborhoods because of all that's happened. It's not enough. If the election were held today, he would win substantially, unless there's a candidate out there that I don't know. We need a candidate in the Democrat primary that would be like a Sherelle Parker, maybe an African-American woman who is tough on crime because of what's going on. You would have a shot then. But you got to understand, this guy is not like these other Soros softies. They're progressive and they're relatively soft. He is an all-timer here. You're not going to take him out easily. And every time I see Kevin Bacon, show reference, doing now an electric vehicle commercial, I think of this clown talking about Larry Krasner and how he's taking on the system. And I want to take he's driving his daughter. I just want to drop them off at the changing station at Broad and Glenmore and to see if Kevin Bacon might change his mind.
Just a side note, Scott says, chiming in, where's that comment? There it goes. Sherelle's really our best hope. She is the one that I know has the ability to rally enough public support against Krasner to get him out. I'd say David O would probably do the same, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he could rally public support. He would oppose him at every step. That is going to be the first thing we look at with Sherelle Parker. I think she's a serious person. I've advised her, during the debates and off air, you got to take on Krasner. I'm not convinced any of these hardened Democrats that I interviewed really have what it takes, but they're going to have to rise to the occasion. Do they want to be as flawed, remembered? Just think of how Jim Kenney's going to be remembered. A, he's not going to be remembered that much. He's an afternote. B, anybody goes, oh, Jim Kenney, they're going to say that miserable, that just worthless blank, blank, blank.
Yeah.
I mean, he may be getting wine at Wegmans on his pension and all, but you got to think everybody wants a legacy. What's Kenney's legacy? And his legacy is quitting as mayor on TV. That's his big moment.
I just pulled up Scott's comment there. That last name looks very familiar. I do my best to forget last names. We have a Scott caller that does a lot of Philly stuff. So if that's the same Scott, I think it is. I hope you heard that Monday we're actually building an entire side question around you.
So it's going to be fabulous Monday. Looking forward to it already. Yes.
Yeah, Scott's our friend that often chimes in on the Phillies broadcast and does like an inning here and there, and gave a gazelle as one of the. Or was it antelope? Antelope, right?
Yes, he said that John Kruk, you look like an antelope when you got a triple. You had several triples that year. That guy is so brilliant. He ought to take up doing radio full time. He gets it. He's good. If he gets Dom time in there somehow or another, and I could just see, what the hell,
He said, I did hear that you guys are going to do that. My wife and I lit up hearing me mentioned today. That's right, brother. Looking forward to that. Dom, another huge story breaking. You mentioned Mark Dial. That's a big one. But want to move on to this Chester County prison escapee. If you happen to live there, this is what your backyard might have looked like within the past couple of days. Yeah. It's an entire countywide. Is it countywide, or it's a very large search area that they're searching now?
Look out the kitchen window.
Sorry.
That's great footage. Yeah.
Yeah. But Danilo Cavalcante escaped using very shocking way to do so. Check out this video.
Let's tie into Krasner here as he's escaping here and ask who's in charge out there of the law enforcement machinery. The DA, Deb Ryan, Democrat. The new sheriff is tied into that big time. Doesn't even have dogs to pursue this guy. Was that guy a lookout, by the way? I would charge him just for that. Yeah, it looked like he was a lookout to me. Why is this guy, we've asked all week, a convicted murderer here, probably in Brazil, why is he able to walk around until he gets transferred to a maximum security? Right there, that is, I would sue. It's an actionable item against the current warden. It's not just the barbed wire. He ought to be in his cell. There's no law that says he has to be out of his cell. Now, maybe there's some prison regulation where he has to get a half hour of exercise a day. If he does, two guys with no necks ought to be exercising along with him. It's an obvious thing.
And if you weren't aware, just a couple months ago, another prisoner did the exact same tactic to escape. Like, you would think that they'd know to prevent it to happen again, right?
Yeah, but the first item of prevention, Dan, is lessening the time that he has any ability to be outside his cell. And I haven't seen, with all this coverage, to make this point, the media hasn't drilled down. What do the regs say? Have they asked this warden, why is he out of his cell? I haven't heard that question with all the rest of it. I'll ask you too, and I'll give mine first. I would say this operation at this point, though, is a D at best. I'm talking about the hunting. And when I hear about the temperatures and all, you know what? They got to be more creative. Get air-conditioned trucks out there. Let the cops, cool down somewhere. I'm sure homes would let them come in, sit down there, bring in fresh troops, whatever you have to do. But complaining about the heat, this moron's on the run for, 7 days? He's out there in the heat 24/7.
Yeah, so what that video is right there is Longwood Gardens, a very famous tourist destination spot in the area, has had to officially close their doors because there's been multiple reports of Danilo being seen on their property. And what you're seeing here is the perimeter of the Longwood Gardens. What was the distance that O'Connell said?
Every 50 yards.
Yeah, every 50 yards there's a police car.
Wait a minute. I'm fading back. That looks like about 45 yards to me.
You think you could throw it that distance, Dom?
Oh, yes. You know what? All right, let's get Dom over here. We're going to space the police vehicles to guard Longwood. He's going to throw a football at each spot, and then we'll put them that close to. I don't know if they have enough manpower to do it then.
Yeah, so a lot of the excuses have been that it's been too hot to do the search. The person in charge was asked about that in a press conference yesterday. This is his response.
Oh, it makes it very challenging. Certainly all of you have been out in this weather, high temperatures, high humidity. They're wearing uniforms with bullet-resistant vests, carrying a lot of equipment. It certainly adds to the challenge. With that said, I have not heard a single complaint, and I believe our people are up to the task. But
can they get some break time, cool down time, water breaks?
If someone needs it, we absolutely get them some rest. But typically, what we've been doing is we're transporting fluids, food, those kinds of things to sustain them and keep them well hydrated out to their locations. Sorry, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
I'm bringing an air-conditioned truck out there. I mean, this isn't all. I don't sense, Dan. Maybe I see too many films. I don't see Tommy Lee Jones here. I don't see the intensity of saying, not we're going to catch this guy at some point, but we're going to catch him now. Schools closed, Longwood Gardens closed, people are afraid in their homes. The other thing we have to explore, and I meant to do it today, these people not wanting to lock their doors like they're in paradise in Chester County. We've heard that. Why wouldn't you lock your door as a matter of course? By the way, I'm sure we're getting some comment. I need some on Dan's hairstyling today. I think Mrs. Kim has been working over. This is a good hairstyling today. How about bringing up a Phil Murphy clip next to Dan?
Yeah, right. My hair's better than Phil's. Come on. Actually, what I did it the other way today.
I think you ought to be doing more of that. It's absolutely it.
So to your point, not locking your doors in Montgomery County. You live in Philadelphia, you see this on the streets. There's no way you're not locking your doors. It's KRASNERLAND for you.
That is the epitome of KRASNERLAND.
Yeah.
You know, some of those vehicles in there too, Dan, look like they were from Mad Max. The trucks or whatever they were going through. There's a couple of them, the cars that were going through. Yeah.
Like
yeah, right there.
Right there. Yeah.
I mean, what the heck is next? The essential question is this: what does it take to shame the mechanism in Philadelphia into action? Krasner never will be. You cannot do it with that man. But with the others, what pressure is on them to challenge this? We'll soon see.
Yeah, I mean, and just a couple more quick videos. Sam Oropeza, a guy that ran here locally to get some change done. He has a friend who's a fighter, and he actually got carjacked and somehow got video of his friend who was carjacked. And look how crazy this scene is.
Street South ramp to Independence Hall.
Oh, my God.
He tries to get his car back, and he gets dragged away by the arm.
Yeah, he's from
north on North 7th Street toward North Franklin Street.
He's from Ukraine. They look like they're going on the underpass.
Head east on Race Street. Keep right to stay on Race Street.
Let's turn off the GPS. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but it's Sam Oropeza. They fired at him twice and missed. And guess what? The car that they went there to take his car was a stolen car. They arrived in a stolen car, then stole his because it was better. Only in Philadelphia.
KRASNERLAND.
That, you know what? That might be the signature of the guy from Ukraine is a mixed martial arts fighter jumping in to get his car that's just been stolen with guys driving a stolen car firing at him.
Let me see if I can get this location before I bring it up. I don't know it. This is from Stinky Feet on Twitter. He posted this one up. But just another shocking video of Philadelphia crime. Take a watch.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Just shoots at the house, drives away.
Now that's crazy. Look at that. Look.
How can y'all put it, please? How can y'all put it? Can I see it right now? Oh, yeah, bro. Look at this cat, bro. Stop doing it, bro.
It's freaking crazy, right? They just pulled.
What's she saying, Dan? Can you tell?
So she says at one point, "Get the gat, bro." So I guess she was thinking about shooting back.
Oh my God!
You are currently being recorded.
So just one more time. Here comes the car. They pull up. It's freaking. That should not be freaking happening in a healthy city. I apologize.
Get the gat, bro.
Get the gat, bro.
God. Imagine living on that block. You have to deal with the people that live there, and then the people coming to fire at them.
And finally, how about you just trying to do right, working for the city, Dom?
Police say that man was 21 years old and had just been on the job for about 6 months when he was shot and killed this morning. He was making a quick stop to a convenience store, something so many people do on their way to work. However, this particular stop ended his life.
This neighborhood is bad, violence all the time, young generation shooting all the time.
Philadelphia's gun violence crisis is once again affecting Lewis Brown's block in Point Breeze.
There's going to be a large investigation ahead of us.
Around 8:45 this morning, 3 street department employees who were doing work in the area pulled up to the corner of 23rd and Oakford in a city-issued vehicle.
One of them exited their vehicle to go into the corner store behind me to purchase some items to start their day. It's hot out, get some water.
Investigators say that while the 21-year-old man was inside, he got into a physical fight with another man. At some point, a gun was pulled and the city employee was shot once in the back and once in the forearm.
23rd and Oakford, King of Peace, where I played ball, went to elementary school, is 1 or 2 blocks down from that. So I know that neighborhood, and it was never great, but it wasn't anything like we're seeing here.
All right, so before we wrap up, Dom, your predictions on where this Cavalcanti fellow is eventually going to be found, if he's going to be found. Where the hell is he right now, Dom?
I think he'll be found in the near Longwood Gardens. He must like the buffet.
But is it like if they have the thermal over, is he hiding under a bridge, under a rock, like?
Yeah, we talked about that with the thermal and the drones, Dan, and they know he's in this perimeter that's only a couple square miles. I'll give you the developments the most interesting to me. Vigilantes are out there now. I saw this one guy who was family in the area, was well equipped, et cetera, and he's gone along the riverbanks thinking this guy has to be looking for water a lot. Suppose one of these people captures him, and then the apparatus out there tries that person versus the police capturing him.
I hate to say it, but it's a realistic possibility with the way these progressive DAs
and
are.
Suddenly the police have authorized the ability to shoot to kill.
Yeah,
I guess they're
where's
tired
that
of
come
doing
from?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the same state that condemns capital punishment,
right,
is going for shoot to kill now.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't give this a high grade. You just don't feel the intensity of this. And wouldn't your personal pride, just picture some people we know, say, this guy's laughing at us. How many days can this creep meander along across Chester County?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got for today. Jim, with a very positive note, nothing in the city will change as long as people continue to vote like their parents. It's not the same party, people obviously referring to the Democratic Party, which has been usurped by progressives like Larry Krasner and final thing, Kendra Brooks, is that her name?
Kendra Brooks, the head of the socialist working family that Joshie Shapiro supported over your average Democrat.
So she's a name that you'll probably be hearing a bunch coming up here on KRASNERLAND as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
She's a big proponent of defund the police, et cetera. And Republicans are not doing a good job of keeping her buddy out of there. You may have two socialists. I mean, actual socialists, not ones that are pretending not to be.
Yeah. All right, Dom. Well, we'll pray that's much easier to prepare for a week next week because it's a safer week here in KRASNERLAND, but that hasn't been the case for, 100 plus episodes now, it feels like. But Dom, we will talk next week, Thursday, and also Monday, starting at noon, 9/11. It's a very special show that we're putting together. We're going to be joined by Mike Huckabee, Alan B. West. That's all on the Dom Giordano program, Monday at noon on 1210 WPHT.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later. Have a good weekend.